Welcome back, Paladins. If you're new to this channel, then here's just a little bit about us. Solegate is a community of writers, voice actors, artists, and comic creators. We upload videos about all the community's creations, and you can even get some of your own work shown on this channel if you fill out the form in the description. Anyone's welcome to join, whether you do what you do professionally or just as a hobby. Alright, let's get on with the story. Remember the SATONI, short story by me, Zelatrix. The captain of the SATONI was yelling through the announcements, "Everyone get to the emergency shuttle!" The ship was struck by something unknown, perhaps a massive solar flare from a nearby star. But Rakovi knew it was something much worse. In the event, the emergency shuttle had been destroyed too. He knew that everyone was going to die, including himself. But he didn't care. Rakovi knew that all soldiers were meant to die as heroes, but not him. All the other warriors on the ship had served for years in war, but not him. Rakovi had just signed up to make his parents proud of him. Now he was about to die without accomplishing anything. Just another waste of resources like he'd always been. Honestly, at this point, he wanted to die. He had never done anything good for this world. Rakovi just hoped he got his wish. He screamed, "End this pain for me already!" A piece of metal twisted through his body, severing his right arm and tearing through his organs. Ah! His blood splattered all over the metal floors. Sparks flew everywhere as the other crew members screamed. The captain began speaking his final words as the ship entered the atmosphere of a nearby planet. Rakovi slipped on his blood and smashed his head against the ceiling. After that, everything went dark. Rakovi's eyes opened, filled with blood. He could see his arm on the floor next to him, torn to shreds. Everything had stopped moving. Pieces of shattered metal lay all around him. The ship had obviously crashed. He suddenly realized he couldn't breathe. Rakovi didn't know why, but he couldn't walk either, so he used his only arm to crawl to the oxygen tanks laying on the floor. He wrapped the mask around his mouth and felt the relief of fresh air fill his lungs. The weight of the two tanks was astonishingly heavy, and with one working limb he had no idea how he would survive. Rakovi grabbed a metal rod laying on the ground and tried to get up. He was able to lean on the pole, but not walk. He knew that the medical compartment in the ship had prosthetic limbs, but he saw it was completely destroyed also. A large side of the ship was ravaged to pieces, so he decided to go outside. The planet had a deep purple atmosphere and lots of lush plant life, unlike anything on Earth. He used the pole to drag himself forward with his entire body on the ground and oxygen tanks clanging on his right. He was still bleeding, and since the medical compartment was destroyed, he had to wrap the long, grass-like plants around his torso. Humans in this time period are far more biologically advanced, so they can survive losing a few organs if lucky. There was a large patch of plants that somewhat resembled bear traps, so he wandered away from that. Rakovi had no exact path, but would probably die on this planet, alone, hungry, and tired. He slowly learned the ways of the new world and adapted to its inhabitants. Over time, he forged prosthetic legs from the remains of the ship scattered throughout the land, and an entirely new arm from the ship's resources. He could walk, run, and explore as much as he wanted. This planet had one advanced civilization hidden among the trees, and it was his goal to find it. He knew it wouldn't be anywhere near here, so he gave up his humanity to find it. As he traveled, he had to replace pieces of his body because of the aging he had gone through. After 1,000 years, he made it, but at a cost. He was now entirely made of synthetic remains of the ship. He was respected by the elders and creatures and treated as one of their own. Eventually, every species on this planet knew him now. Sadly, Rakovi never found out what happened to the rest of the crew or his captain, and he would live for thousands of years and be remembered as the Metal Wanderer, who never lost hope in finding his way home. Well, that's the end of Remember the SATONI. If you like this video, be sure to slam that like button. If this video gets 5 likes, I will create a part 2, which will explain more about the universe and time period they live in. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe today to join the Paladins.